these very Good morning and welcome to worship this morning. If you could all please stand and wave at the cameras in the back for those who are worshiping with us from home, and then wave and say hello to your neighbor. Very good. Well, good morning once again. My name is Jennifer Dyer. I'm the Director of Youth and Young Adults here at Montrose Zion. It's good to be with you this morning. I have a couple of announcements, a couple of things that are going on that you can get involved in here at Montrose Zion. The first one is on May 14th, which is just in a couple of weeks. We are having what we've traditionally called our Spring Cleanup Day. This year we're focusing mostly on planting and doing some landscaping around the church. So we're needed, lots of hands are needed. So if you're interested in helping with the planting, the mulching, and I'm sure they have jobs for all skill levels, right, Joe? Any skill level is welcome? Okay, good. We really need your help. So there's a sign-up sheet so we can know who to expect back on our welcome table. But if you could think about giving us a few hours of your time to help plant around the church, that'd be much appreciated. It's again on May 14th. We're going to start at 8:30 and hopefully wrap up by 12:30. So if you can't make it there right at 8:30, you can come later. We'd welcome that. But try to be here by 8:30 so we can get done and get on with the day. You can ask, Joe Kwan is sitting right here. If you could wave so people, if you have any questions, you can ask her. There was a donation to the church made to help support the planting of these plants. So thank you to that donation. It is spring, as the rain reminded us this morning. It is springtime, and springtime in my world means graduation season. And so we love to honor our graduates. If you have a young person in your life that's graduating from high school, from college, from a certificate program or a technical school, any kind of graduation, we want to honor and celebrate them. We need their information, though, by May 15th. There is a link you can sign up and give us their information in your newsletter. Or if you need a hard copy of that, you can come and see me and I can get you a hard copy of that. But we are going to honor our graduates on the first Sunday in June at 10 a.m. And so we need that information by May 15th. So if you have a graduate you'd like to honor, we get their information and their picture so that we can put that together. Today is May 1st, so we have a new monthly mission. Thank you to everyone who brought in the Ziploc bags. We'll have a count for you next week. But I want to let you know what our May monthly mission is. Open-M has requested for their health clinic multivitamins. We were just talking about in our staff meeting multivitamins this week. And so we take our multivitamins and keep our bodies healthy. And so they are asking for multivitamins in any variety. So it doesn't have to be a specific brand or type. It can be generic. But if you could bring in those multivitamins and set them at the table that'll be back there, or you can place them in the bucket just outside the main doors and we'll bring those in. And we'll collect those, as always, throughout the whole month. And my last announcement is that we typically give Bibles to our third grade students. And with the craziness of the last couple years, we have some catching up to do. So if you have a student who's in grades 3, 4, or 5, so 3rd through 5th grade, who has not received a Bible from the church and would like to, if you could get us their names, we do have a list that we're working on, but we want to make sure to include your student. So if you could let us know if you have a student in grades 3 through 5 who would like to receive a Bible from the church. And we will also be presenting those in the month of June, June 12th at our 10 a.m. service. And I'm mentioning in June, I guess I should announce that we will be having one service in June. It will be outside, weather permitting, at 10 a.m. So kind of note that on your calendar as well. And we're going to have lots of celebrations in the month of June. So let's celebrate this morning. Let's worship this morning as we stand and sing our first hymn, number 715, Rejoice, the Lord is King.
Rejoice, the Lord is King, your Lord and Excellent. Thank you. Please be seated.
Leviticus 6, chapters 1 through 6. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, When any of you sin and commit a trespass against the Lord by deceiving a neighbor in a manner of a deposit or a pledge, or by robbery, or if you had defrauded a neighbor, or have found something lost and lied about it, if you swear falsely regarding any of the various things that one may do and sin thereby, when you have sinned and realized your guilt, and would restore what you took by robbery or by fraud, or the deposit that was committed to you, or the lost thing that you found, or anything else by which you have sworn falsely, you shall repay the principal amount and shall add 1/5 to it. You shall pay it to its owner when you realize your guilt, and you shall bring it to the priest as your guilt offering to the Lord, a ram without blemish from the rock or its equivalent for a guilt offering.
As we come into this time of prayers of joys and concerns, just a reminder about those that we have on our prayer list. To keep those in your thoughts and prayers throughout the week, you can find those in your newsletter. And as we start this sermon series on different stigmas, this week we're looking at the stigma of physical health. And so I would ask that during this time of silent prayer, you pray for those who are struggling with their physical health. Let's join together in a time of silent prayer. Great physician, healer of all physical, mental, and emotional ailments, we worship you this morning as broken people in need of restoration. The rush of Easter is over. The excitement which carried us to Easter is wearing off. And we aren't sure what to do now that the journey to the cross is completed. Help us to understand that the cross is not our ending point, but rather the pivotal point. Help us to be people of astounding faith who have seen the light of resurrection, who know that you have conquered death. Fear cannot claim and bind us. Remind us again of how you transform lives, not just with healing, but with a spirit of hope and compassion. Keep us hopeful. Teach us not to give up when things are going wrong. Give us faith that can move mountains. Give us hearts that are ready to be of service to others in all times and in all places. You have released us to serve others and witness to the glorious good news. Compassionate, glorious God, you hear our cries and our pleas for help. As we have brought the names of those near and dear to us to you in prayer, help us to feel the rejuvenated power of your love in our lives. Inspire us to move into compassionate ministries to your world. And in doing so, we follow in the footsteps of Jesus Christ, who taught us to pray together, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Be still, there is a healer. His love is deeper than the sea. His mercy is unfailing, and His arms a fortress for the weak. So let faith arise, and let faith arise. And I lift my hands to believe again that you are my refuge, you are my strength. As I pour out my heart, these things I remember. You are faithful, God, forever. Be still, there is a river that flows from Calvary's tree, a fountain for the thirsty, your grace that washes over me. So let faith arise, and let faith arise. Then I lift my hands to believe again that you are my refuge, you are my strength. As I pour out my heart, these things I remember. You are faithful, God, forever. I lift my hands to believe again that you are my refuge, you are my strength. As I pour out my heart, these things I remember. You are faithful, God, forever. So be still, there is a healer. His love is deeper than the sea, and His mercy is unfailing, and His arms a fortress for the weak.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. Can I ask for the young people to come forward for the children's moment? Great. Good, good, and good. And all the kids at home, this is your time too. You're going to be learning some things today, so you don't want to get close to the TV. Now, I want to know, how many of you here know anybody that can't hear? Does anybody know anybody that's deaf? Anybody know anybody that's deaf? I know I do. Does anybody here in the congregation know anybody that can't hear? People that struggle to hear? Don, are you pointing at yourself? Oh, me? Myself? Yep. Oh, yeah, if you ever see me leaning in close to be able to hear you, it's getting to be me too. So, you know somebody? Your friend's dog has a tough time hearing? Sure. Yeah. So even our dogs, even our pets, as they get older, sometimes they have tough times hearing. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what it would be like to be deaf today. Now, what do you think are some things that you would miss hearing if you couldn't hear, if your ears didn't work anymore? What are some things you wouldn't be able to hear anymore? Yep. People talking. That's right. I think about the sound of rain. I heard the sound of rain this morning. and I wouldn't have been able to hear that, and the sound of thunder and lightning, and I wouldn't be able to hear that either. What about the voice of your mom? Would you be able to hear your voice of your mom anymore? No, you wouldn't. I know. And sometimes when they're telling us to do chores, maybe we don't want to hear the voice of our moms, but I'm going to tell you, mom's voice is awfully nice to hear. It's awfully nice to hear. There's all sorts of things that we wish that we could hear. Now, what do people do nowadays to help them hear better? What do they wear? Does anybody know what they wear? Yep. You have hearing aids, and some people learn to read lips, and still other people learn a different language. Does anybody know what's that? Sign language. Very good. And so does anybody here know any sign language? You know a little bit of sign language. Okay, somewhere in there. She said one of those means yes, one other one needs no. You gotta figure out which one's which, because that can get real confusing. But I'm going to teach you a couple things, and kids at home too. I want you to be able to learn this sign language. And everybody know which one your middle finger is, right? But not for the wrong reasons, but you know which. Okay, good. Okay, so we've got this one. Let's identify our finger. What we're going to do is we're going to touch the center of our palms with each of our middle fingers. Does anybody know what that means? Anybody here know what that means? Anybody in the congregation know what this means? What did you say, Joe? No, it's not I want. It is Jesus. Yeah, it's how we say Jesus in sign language. And it's talking about the nails that went into his hands. And so that's why we say Jesus in sign language. How about if I went like this? Who knows what this means? What? Love, yeah. And if I point it towards you, it means I love you. Okay? And so if you go and put each of your index finger and your little finger up and your thumb out, okay? And then you just kind of rotate it towards somebody that you love. There you go. And so I love you. That's good. That's an important message. Now how about this? If I go like this, kids at home, if I point to my throat and I point down, who knows what this means? Yep. What's that? Lungs. No, that would be interesting. Yep. This means I'm thirsty. And if we make a C by our stomachs, go ahead and make a C. Yeah, that's right. And then you go down, a C by your stomachs, and you go down, it means I'm hungry. Now, back when Jesus lived, they didn't have any sign language. They didn't have any hearing aids. They didn't have anything that would help a person who couldn't hear to be able to hear. And so Jesus sees a man who can't hear and he can't speak, and he realizes all of the things that man will never be able to hear or communicate with the world. And that disability was keeping him disconnected from people. And so Jesus wanted to bring the whole community together, and he wanted that man to be a part of it too. And so what do you think Jesus did? Did he tell him, you're not welcome, just get out because you can't hear me anyways? No. What he did is he stuck his fingers in the man's ears. He wiggled them around a little bit, and then suddenly his ears he could hear, and then I love this the best, and then he spit in his hand, and he took his hand with spit and all, and he shoved it in the man's mouth, and he wiggled it around, and suddenly, this is crazy, I know, and suddenly the man who couldn't speak, he began to speak and speak and speak. But the point is this, is that Jesus sees all the different reasons why we can stay apart from each other. And we're going to talk about things, a fancy word is called stigmas today. But sometimes people, when they're really tall, we look at them as they might be strange. Or if they're really short, they feel like they're strange too. That's just because we've made decisions about them as people. Or if they can't hear us, maybe we feel uncomfortable because they can't understand what we're trying to say to them. But the thing is, Jesus wants to connect us all together because Jesus' love brings all of his people together. And so let's always remember that whatever way in which you can welcome somebody, whether it be through sign language or helping them to hear, you're doing the same work that Jesus is doing. He wants to bring all of God's people together, all of us. All right, let's go to prayer. Dear Lord, if we can't hear, stick your fingers in our ears and wiggle them around so we can hear your voice. Let us hear your words and follow them to bring us together as your people. Amen. Okay, very good. If you'd like to head out to junior church with Mrs. Liming, that would be great.
Mark chapter 7, verses 31 through 37. Then he returned from the region of Tyre and went by way of